In the past week, President Donald Trump has once again found himself at the center of major political and economic controversies. His latest executive actions and the escalating trade tensions between the United States and China have sparked intense debate, drawing reactions from policymakers, investors, and global leaders alike. These developments are more than just headlines. They mark critical shifts that could shape global trade, economic stability, and political landscapes for years to come. In this video, we'll break down what's happening, why it matters, and what it could mean for the future. The US-China trade war heats up. One of the biggest flashpoints in recent days has been the worsening trade war between the United States and China. On February 4, 2025, the US imposed a sweeping 10% tariff on all Chinese imports, citing concerns over trade imbalances, intellectual property theft, and the need to protect American industries. China wasted no time in retaliating. Just days later, Beijing announced a $14 billion countermeasure, slapping 15% tariffs on US coal and liquefied natural gas, LNG, while also imposing a 10% tax on crude oil, agricultural machinery, and automobiles. These new measures are set to take effect on February 10, escalating tensions and raising fears of prolonged economic conflict. But what does this mean for global markets? And how will businesses and consumers feel the impact? Global markets in turmoil. The financial world has been quick to react. While Wall Street initially remained optimistic due to strong US earnings reports, the rapid escalation of the trade dispute has sent shockwaves through global markets. The Mexican peso and the MSCI Emerging Market Equity Index have both taken a hit, reflecting investor fears over the long-term economic consequences of these trade restrictions. Analysts are now warning that the uncertainty surrounding tariffs is making it increasingly difficult for businesses and investors to plan for the future. With each side announcing new economic policies at a rapid pace, global markets are struggling to keep up, raising concerns that this trade war could trigger a broader economic downturn. Energy markets. A major shift. The energy sector is one of the biggest areas affected by these new tariffs. With China now imposing duties on US coal, American exporters are shifting their focus toward India. This move could significantly alter global energy markets, as traditional coal suppliers like Australia and Russia may find their dominance in India challenged. However, the increased supply could drive down coal prices, hurting profitability for American companies. Meanwhile, China's new tariffs on liquefied natural gas and crude oil could force US energy producers to seek alternative markets, reshaping global energy trade routes. For an industry already navigating price volatility and geopolitical uncertainty, these tariffs add yet another layer of complexity. Tech industry under threat. The trade war isn't just about raw materials and energy, it's also impacting the technology sector. In response to the US tariffs, China has launched antitrust investigations into major American tech firms, including Google and Illumina. This move signals a potential crackdown on US technology companies operating within China, creating a new front in the economic conflict. Additionally, China has restricted the export of rare earth metals, which are critical for industries like defense, renewable energy, and consumer electronics. This could have far-reaching consequences, as the US and other nations scramble to secure alternative supplies to keep their industries running. A look back. Trade war history. If this all sounds familiar, it's because we've been here before. The US-China trade war first erupted in 2017, when President Trump began imposing tariffs on Chinese goods in an attempt to force Beijing to change its trade policies. The conflict continued into President Joe Biden's administration, with both nations imposing tariffs, restrictions, and bans across multiple industries, including technology and heavy equipment. Now, with Trump once again at the forefront of US policy, we're seeing a revival of these economic battles, this time with even harsher retaliatory measures and an increasingly divided global economic landscape. Political reactions. Divided opinions. Domestically, Trump's latest moves have sparked a wave of polarized reactions. The trade war itself has also divided opinion. While some see the tariffs as a necessary step to protect American industries and counteract China's economic policies, others warn that they could lead to higher consumer prices, increased costs for manufacturers, and strained international relations. The question remains: is this a strategic move for long-term economic gain, or a risky gamble that could backfire? International reactions. The global response. Trump's aggressive trade policies aren't just affecting the US and China. Other nations are feeling the pressure as well. Allies and trading partners have voiced concerns about the potential economic fallout, with some actively looking for ways to reduce their dependence on both US and Chinese markets. Countries like Germany, Japan, and South Korea are now working on trade deals that could mitigate the impact of the US-China conflict on their economies. Meanwhile, international organizations like the World Trade Organization, WTO, have been drawn into the dispute, as governments seek clarity on how these escalating trade barriers align with global trade rules. The bigger question now is, will diplomacy play a role in de-escalating tensions, or are we headed toward an extended period of economic warfare? The road ahead. Economic predictions. Economists are keeping a close watch on these developments, and the predictions aren't exactly reassuring. Many fear that prolonged tariffs and economic uncertainty could lead to disruptions in global supply chains, higher production costs for businesses, rising consumer prices, slower economic growth. If neither the US nor China backs down, this trade war could drag on for months, or even years, with severe consequences for the global economy. Conclusion. A critical moment in global politics and economics. The events of the past week highlight the complex interplay between domestic policies, global trade, and economic stability. Trump's executive actions and escalating tensions with China aren't just political moves. They're shaping the future of industries, international relations, and everyday consumers. As this situation unfolds, all eyes are on Washington and Beijing. Will diplomacy win out, or are we witnessing the start of a new era of economic confrontation? One thing is clear: the decisions made in the coming weeks will have lasting consequences, and the world is watching closely. Stay tuned for more updates as we continue to track these unfolding events. If you found this breakdown helpful, like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth analysis on global politics and economics. This is Tachaflix.